Most welcome. So today's session is about penetration testing, and it will be done from my side and from Sam's side, who is a professional pen tester. And the session is going to be around 45 minutes, and then we're going to have around 15 minutes in case you have any questions or any doubts. My name is Mohammed Atif. I'm an information security specialist, and I have more than 20 years of experience in cybersecurity, managing different kinds of projects. So I will start the session, and then my colleague Sam will take over and explain the professional penetration testing process, how it should be done. So let me start by explaining what is the purpose of this workshop, why we did a penetration testing workshop. Who's the audience for this workshop? So the reason we created this workshop was because a lot of people who are interested in ethical hacking and penetration testing, and they spend time and they spend money learning ethical hacking, but they didn't end up with the penetration testing jobs. So the audience that I'm looking for this webinar is for people who want to work in penetration testing, except they don't know the exact or the best path to let them achieve their goal. This is the audience I'm looking for, because getting ethical hacking training like CEH or OSCP or any other ethical hacking training, it's good knowledge. But when it comes to real business requirement, it's a little bit different. And this is what we're going to explain today. We're going to explain what skills do you need to have besides the training to be able to work as a professional penetration tester. So I will not go through the statistic and the amount of jobs that penetration tester can find easily. So you can do that yourself. Just Google it, see the demand for professional penetration testing. I will not waste time in this part. What I will focus on, myself and my colleague Sam, is what does it take? I mean, how should I plan to work as a professional penetration tester? Is it only the training? Should I only get a training and a certification, and once I apply for jobs, I will get hired right away? How this field is working? This is what we're going to explain today. We're going to explain what does it take, because a lot of people who are interested in ethical hacking and penetration testing think the path is to take the training, like the most common training, Easy Counsel, CH, or Offensive Security, OSCP, or any other training. Let me take a course and let me take a certificate, and then I will not find any problem finding a job as a penetration tester, a professional penetration tester. But this is not how it works actually. And think about it. If you hold any of those certificates, if you got a training, an ethical hacking training, any kind of ethical hacking training, and you apply for jobs, and the interviewer will ask you, did you ever perform a real penetration testing process? What you can answer? I have the certificate. I took the training. Do you think this is enough to let you get a job? Having a training? Keeping in mind that all those training are essential training. You do not learn real penetration testing. They give you a target, it's a vulnerable target, and then you practice on those vulnerable targets. So I'm not saying that it's not important to take the training, but what I'm saying is training is the first step, but it will not get you to find a job as a professional penetration tester. So right now, people who are planning or are searching to work in penetration testing as a professional career, and by the way, they are getting paid very well if you are working permanently or as a freelancer. And one more time, you can do your own research about that. You can search average salary or average hour rate for a professional penetration testing. So at least you will get to know, does it, worth investing to learn about professional penetration testing and how I become a professional penetration testing, or it's a waste of time and money. So right now, people are thinking only about two things. I want to work as a professional penetration testing. I want to learn ethical hacking and and use that as my own career. Let me take courses and let me take certificates. That's it. Okay. But as I just mentioned, if you took any ethical hacking training and you sit for the exam and you took the certificate, do you think organization will hire you as a part-time or as a full-time just because you hold the certificate? Definitely you will sit for an interview and they will ask you, did you do, because penetration testing is a very critical task. If you don't know how it's done in a proper way, you can do a big mess. So it's not something that people will take risk hiring you because you know the basics. They are looking for people who already have the real experience. So as I was saying, people are only depend on courses and certification. And even the training and most of the CTF website like Try Hack Me and this kind of website, when they give you some target to test on it, most of them are vulnerable target. So when you learn some ethical hacking and you decide, okay, let me practice on some target, you will find a lot of target on the internet, like DVWA or OWASP. They have an image which has a lot of vulnerable application. So they will give you something vulnerable to test your skills, which is not the realistic part. Realistically, in real business, when you go to perform in penetration testing, and my colleague Samuel explains that during the technical part of the session, you will find a really strong target. It's protected, it has the web application firewall, it has the antivirus installed, it has all kinds of protection layers. And your responsibility is to try to find vulnerabilities within this protected environment. This is what you are missing when it comes to taking training or ethical hacking training. When you take training, you will not learn how to bypass security, how to perform real penetration testing and ethical hacking, how to end up analyzing the weakness in the system, because organization will not hire you to hack them. They want to test the hacking and tell them what did you find and how it can be fixed. So it's not about just testing. Organization need someone who are working according to standard. In PT, there is a standard that we are following according to what is the penetration testing projects that we are getting. So my point is there is a gap between the skills taken by training and the real business requirement. That's why we decided to do this program that will help candidates by giving them the real penetration testing skills, how we should conduct a real penetration testing skills in a real secured environment. Let me share with you a similar experience. Guys, you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me give you a small example about what we did, and at least you will get to know the objective of this program. So what happened is we were able to identify these gaps in many fields in cybersecurity that people training are not matching business requirement. So we need to give people real projects and show them how it work. I mean, how can I transfer my essential and basic knowledge that I took in a training, regardless of the training, to a real business requirement? I need to practice real project. I need someone who can give me a real target or a real project and show me how it's done and evaluate my assignment. So earlier, we did a similar program. It was for cybersecurity specialists, which is the same idea that we can, or we open registration for this program and we allow people to enroll. And in this program, we were doing or let them practice the knowledge in real projects. And you can yourself search about the people feedback. Just search for InfoSec for TC review and search feedback about people who took this program for the cybersecurity specialist, how they were able to learn real skills and how they were involved in a real project. So if you have a chance, have a look on it. It will give you an idea about the purpose of our program. What exactly are we doing? So we did the same for the penetration testing workshop. We got a professional penetration tester who worked in many projects in different sectors, financial sector, government sector, private sector. So he know about the scope of different penetration tester. And we decided to open the enrollment for a 6 months program where people get to learn how to perform a real penetration testing. They will get real target, real protected target, and they will be guided step by step. How do we perform penetration testing according to the industry standard and the regulations and the business requirement, because it's not a random process, by the way. It's a very, very organized process, and it has a lot of restriction. So this is actually the objective of this program, which my colleague Sam will explain in depth the different phases of the program. So in brief, what we're going to do, we will allow few people to enroll in the program because it's a 6 months program. It's 2 days per month, every 15 days, where we are showing people step by step how they should perform a realistic penetration testing according to the standard, how they should identify the vulnerability, write the report, perform using the well-known tools that we are doing in penetration in real projects, how it should be done. And all the assignment will be evaluated as well from the Sam, who is a professional penetration tester. So he will let you know if you are doing it the right way or it needs to be done in a different way. And according to that, if you apply for any real penetration testing jobs, you know exactly how it's done, what should be the output for it, how the project for penetration testing it's conducted, what is the paperwork that need to be done, what is the deliverable, and so on. So now I will leave Sam explain about the project details and how it's done and what is the purpose of the project and how we can get people involved in real penetration testing project to relate between the basics knowledge and the real business environment. Sam?
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You can share your screen, everyone.
I hope everyone is having a good day, and thank you so much for the opportunity, sir. So I'll have a very quick introduction about my trainer profile and my security analyst profile. Okay, so myself, Sam, I'm a senior security analyst with Securum Solutions and InfoSec 4TC. And I have more than 8 years of experience, and my expertise, I have expert knowledge in network security as well as perimeter security and web application security. And I handle almost 150 plus projects all around the globe, and I've trained more than 200 batches as an InfoSec trainer. That's what my quick introduction is. Okay, please allow me to share my screen and we'll get into the webinar straight away. Okay, is my screen visible? Please, anyone acknowledge it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, penetration testing career path. Once you have seen this particular topic in your mail, what do you have in your mind now currently, and what do you thought, like, am I going to learn something new, and what I'm going to get in this particular webinar? Is this going to be a worthy one, and what I'm going to learn exactly? right? Definitely you must be having all these questions in this particular topic. So I make sure like I don't fail it. I'll give you all the necessary information that you will be expecting, that you are expecting from us. Okay, so what is penetration testing career path? We will discuss about that. But before that, we'll just prioritize, or we'll just make it in order that what we have really here. We have 4 clear objectives of this particular webinar. What are those? We have, what is it? What is really penetration testing is, and what we need to do, and where we lack, and how we're going to do, how we're going to achieve it, right? First, we need to know what is penetration testing is clearly. Okay, people get confused a lot with various profiles in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is huge domain, vast. We have too many different departments are available, right? And where this particular penetration testing comes in, and how can I make myself expert in that, and how I'm going to make my career in it, how we're going to proceed it. So we'll start with it. What is it really? Simply keep this in mind. Evaluation of your infrastructure, organization infrastructure, by implementing the policies and control systems. Okay, that's what penetration testing is. Yeah, you may have one more question as well. Then I have heard about that particular term, vulnerability assessment. What is it and where it comes? Is it, then it is not a penetration testing? No. Of course, it is a part of penetration testing. We need to do vulnerability assessment in order to do penetration testing. Okay, and the fourth point, compliances. What is this? The whole penetration testing is covered by compliances. According to the compliances, according to the organization's nature, business nature, we have various compliances, and with that, we need to do penetration testing. That's what penetration testing is. Okay, and what's the need? Yeah, I have few stats here. Okay, we'll talk about that, and you may get an idea like, okay, am I going to make my career in this or not? So what's the need? Why? Why I really need to do penetration testing? People are talking about cloud. People are talking about IoT. People are talking about forensics, and what I'm going to do with the penetration testing. If you just Google penetration testing in 1990s, people started talking about penetration testing in 1990s. You may ask me like, this is a very old concept, that why I need to stick with this, right? So I'll give you the answer very quickly in 3 or 4 slides. Okay, and during this period, live monitoring, incident handling, and response is taking over the cybersecurity. And what we're going to do with the penetration testing, where it really fits in. Yes, still maybe I'm confusing you now that I'm talking about incident handling and I'm talking about penetration testing. I'll give you a clear idea about both. Okay, and we have the cyber threats that is in rise. Nearly 281.5 million people have been affected by the cyber threats recently during this pandemic. Global loss, economic loss, close to 600 billion. And we'll keep this particular monetary losses aside. 92% of companies felt the effect beyond monetary losses. Okay, and we've already surpassed the total number in 2020 by 17%. 4.1 billion records in the first 6 months of 2019 itself, and it has doubled now. Okay, so particularly the point that I was talking, 92% of companies felt effects beyond monetary losses. These stats are according to the magazines. These stats are according to the Forbes and Fortune. Different magazines are available. Still, many breaches and threats are not didn't came into light. Okay, why? I'll give you a really quick example. Like recently, we suffered a recent ransomware attack with one of my known organization. Okay, their Twitter account got hacked. Once the system got hacked with the ransomware, somehow they managed to steal everything, every social media accounts, and they have taken down the site as well. Okay, so how the company able to retrieve to the original business just within 24 hours? Okay, so there are too many things that has been taken into account, even though in the statistics. Okay, so we have lots of things So coming to the point, how are we going to beat it with penetration testing? The thing is, it's very simple. Prevention is better than cure, right? Yes. Keep this point in mind. I'll give you a clear definition of that. Now we have the attack statistics as well. Yes, this particular statistics only in Gulf and UAE. We have this phishing that is 50% rise. Email spamming 46%, online scam 38%. Definitely, I'm damn sure that every one of us here in this webinar must have faced at least once in their life of these particular attacks. Phishing, email spamming, online scams. And these particular scams and email spamming, it is increasing. Okay, individually, every individual is facing this in our home, right? And this is happening in your organization as well. Okay, when you're working. So as a penetration tester, how are you going to beat it? Okay, what are the necessary steps that you need to make? Okay, so you will be, for example, you are starting your career as a penetration tester. I know people are here who's having very expert certifications, who have very much lots of experience in the cybersecurity career, but how are they going to beat it? You will be in a situation that where you have to take decisions on particular these attacks. People will ask you, your colleague will ask you, your co-business vendor or anyone will ask you that how I'm going to defeat this kind of attacks. What are the steps that I need to take it? So you should be in a position to counter these attacks, right? Yes. So the penetration testing is the one that is going to help you for these as well. Got it? And future threats. Yes. We are expecting these threats to be increased by the respective percentages. We are expecting ransomware to be increased by 42%, security breaches, online scams, email spamming, and phishing. It is on the rise now. It's not going to decrease for sure. So it is our responsibility, penetration testers' responsibility to how to keep it. These things, we cannot defend it. We cannot make sure that it's not going to happen. Of course, it will happen. We can only defend ourselves. We can mitigate these things. As a penetration tester, we can take necessary steps. How we're going to beat it. Okay, next. Yeah, I told you I'll give you the answer there, right? So where does this particular penetration testing fits in cybersecurity? I told you to keep the point. Prevention is always better than cure, right? So we have these three departments. Yeah, we have multiple domains and departments available in cybersecurity. We'll make it very simple. Just consider we have only three major departments. Okay, in cybersecurity: risk assessment, incident response and handling, and forensics. Okay, so how all these different domains work and where the penetration testing fits in cybersecurity particularly. The penetration testing fits in risk assessment. Okay, it is your job to prevent the attacks. Okay, we'll take a scenario. Okay, some breaches happen in a particular organization. Who will take the responsibility? Is it the penetration testers or the incident response team or the forensics? The responsibility is all the three of them. Why? Why it's all the three of them? Because the risk assessment guys will need to assess the infrastructure security posture. Okay, means they need to assess infrastructure in the sense network, web application security, IoT, cloud, whatever it is, according to your business. They need to assess it. Keep to make sure that my organization is secure. Then comes the incident response. My business, I'm going to invest some amount. I'll have a team to monitor my network. Okay, so I can defend or I can detect any live attacks that is going to happen in my network or in my organization. That's where I have the incident response team. Then, yeah, I have spent millions of money, millions of dollars in setting up a particular cybersecurity team to defend, to detect, to assess the risk in my organization. Still, attackers manage to breach my organization. Then comes the forensics team. Okay, so the forensics team will analyze what's the origin of the particular attack. Who takes the exact responsibility? They'll analyze it. They will come to a point and they will decide it and they will give the data to both the teams, risk assessment team as well as incident response team. Means I'm the forensic guy. I've analyzed a small mistake has been done by the risk assessment. They missed a very critical vulnerability when they are assessing, means when they are penetrating, when they are doing penetration testing, they missed something. So I come to an idea, I analyzed it, I deeply done, I've done the forensics exactly what I need to do, then I'll give the report to them. So they will make sure that it's not going to happen in future. So what is your role as a penetration tester? Keep that in mind. Your role is to make sure that every infrastructure, network, web application, everything is properly secure. To keep that, to keep how attackers can be defended. Okay. Now, the demand for the penetration testers. Yes, of course it is there. Why? US Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that 31% job growth between 2019 and 2029 itself. Okay, yeah, you just Google it. What is the demand for penetration testers? Of course, you'll be getting all the statistics. You know this very well. Okay, why? Like, why we still not able to get a proper career, right? Again and again, we come to that particular point, right? The problem is the skills. Okay, skillful employees are very in demand, and that's why we need to go for a proper, guidance. You need proper penetration testers need proper guidance, then the demand will be fulfilled. And of course, we have huge average salary in US. We have $100,000. We have the average salary payout for the security analyst. That's a huge demand. Okay, so still we lack the skills. That's what my next slide is. We're going to discuss about where we lack really. Okay, so is penetration testing a good career? I'll give you a very quick point in here. Just keep that in mind. Your skills, if you enhance it, you won't be having that question. The next point, you won't be having that question at all. Okay, how I'm going to enhance my skills? Yes, like Atif sir said that we are going for certifications, we're going for learning, we're going for courses, but still we don't have that industry exposure. Means how we will work on the real-time environment. Okay, so where you lack really. For example, I've interviewed many people for the in interviews. I simply asked them what are the steps that you carry out in the information gathering. Okay, so the answer can be anything. Like they need to give me the answers like information gathering. We cannot stop it in single phase. It happens in all the phases of your penetration testing. Each and every steps you gather information. Number one, or he could have, or they could have given me the proper answers like these are all the steps that I need to carry out. If I ask you the same question, what are the information gathering steps? Can you give me a, like, yeah, you can give me. You will, people used to add Nmap tool. Might have heard about it if you guys are already into cybersecurity, already into, if you've done the CA certification, must have heard about Nmap, right? So they're talking about like, yes, I can do Nmap for information gathering. Nmap is a network scanning tool. They are not sure what they are going to do really. They're not sure what they're doing really. Maybe because of the trainer, maybe because of the false courses they are falling for as a prey, right? And they are not sure about the pre-documentation activities, how they are going to start. How they're going to start. That is a very important thing in the penetration testing. Okay, because CEH is not a penetration testing course. It is a cybersecurity beginner level certification, beginner level course that give you an insight, that give you an idea what the cybersecurity is and how attackers will behave with the ID infrastructure. Okay, so how are you going to start? pre-documentation activities. You should be aware of all these. Then they don't have idea about how they will work. Okay, so like Sir said, we have multiple standards, right? Yes, we have ISO standard, ISMS standard, NIST, WASP, LPT, IBM standards, multiple standards are there. So what is the standard set? Like why we need to follow this? Because what gives you assurance that your penetration testing is a worthy one? Okay, I'm hiring you or I'm asking you, can you please do penetration testing in my organization? You'll say yes. Okay, how can I believe you that your penetration testing steps or whatever you're going to do is a worthy enough to withstand any attack that is going to happen in the near future on my organization? How I can make sure? Right, so just you need to give concentration on this. You need to focus on the standards. Okay, learn any particular standard, focus on any particular standard. That will give you an extra hand during the interviews. That will give you a very bright path. Okay, yes, we talk about standards in here. Traditional penetration testing follows different standards. If you talk about cloud, they have different penetration testing standards. If you talk about IoT, they have different penetration testing standards. Okay, so what we're going to follow, how we're going to do, what are the steps that we need to make? Okay, then prerequisites. What is this prerequisites are? I hired you as a penetration tester. You're going to do penetration testing in my organization. I called you. You came to my organization. Are you going to just sit and open your laptop and do attacks? No. Want to make sure what you are going to do. Clear scope is very mandatory. Clear scope is very mandatory. You need to know what you need for the penetration testing from the organization side and what you're going to do. Okay, so prerequisites should be very clear. Talking about only the penetration testing scoping and how we're going to attack. And another point to be noted that what are the lab activities that I need to perform. Lab activity that I'm saying that don't misunderstood that. I'm not talking about the hardware, software requirements. I'm talking about the simulated environments that we need to carry out before you carry out the penetration testing. Why? Because in the real-time environment, when you go for organization, right? Environments are fragile. Environments are fragile in the sense the infrastructure they use, those are fragile. Okay. Anytime, any infrastructure, any resource can crash because we are using high throttle tools. People don't have idea about what they deal with. Penetration testers, in the sense, people in the sense, they don't have idea about what they use. We'll take Nessus. People use Nessus a lot, right? As a vulnerability assessment tools. It's a high throttle tool. If you add multiple threads, it's a high throttle tool. It may take down any endpoint. Okay, so make sure you do it in the emulated environment or simulated environment. Then you go for the real-time penetration testing. Then it comes technical complications. Okay, technical complications. We have lots of protections. We have IDS. We have firewall. We have web application firewall. Okay, these particular devices, yeah. One who don't have any idea about cybersecurity, then when they just Google it, how I'm going to protect my network, they'll get multiple results. Just go for this firewall. Just buy this IDS, implement in your organization. So they will do it. Okay, so they'll do it quickly. When you have money, you just implement it. But as a penetration tester, your job is to break it through. You will get to know that the IDS, WAF, firewall, whatever the protection devices in the middle, is it secure or not? Okay, again, here your scope plays a lot. Means what? Scope plays a very vital role in this particular technical complications. If your scope is not clear, definitely you're going to face lots of technical complications. If you're not sure what you're going to do, you will face lots of technical complications. So make sure you get a clear scope from the client. Okay, so what are the technical complications that I will get? Okay, now again we have a real scenario. That's how like I do guide my whole team and everyone. Like we take real scenarios and we discuss. Now you have an IP address. Okay. You have a target to attack. Okay. And I told you there is a firewall in the middle. Okay. There's very small slight difference between attack the target or attack the firewall or try to bypass the firewall. Very slight difference. Attack the firewall means you need to attack exactly the IP address of the firewall. Understood? If I told you attack the IP address that is behind the firewall means you have a task to bypass the firewall. Okay, that includes the security assessment of your firewall, how secure your firewall is. Okay, and that whole scenario will make a complete penetration testing auditing that, yeah, by particularly attacking on the IP, I make sure that my firewall is secure. Okay, and insights are very important for a penetration tester. Okay, what is this insights means? You should know that I'm dealing with something that it is really vulnerable or not. You are seeing something that you need to know that it is really vulnerable or not. Okay, so let me give you a quick example. Okay. So you can see my screen, right? Insights are very important, and how your insights on the vulnerability will increase, like how I'm going to decide really that it is a vulnerable or not. Why? People are doing necessary scans. You're getting paid for that. For a simple vulnerability assessment, people are ready to pay $3,000 for a single vulnerability assessment report. Okay, but you can have the question in your mind that for an automated result, am I getting $3,000 that I can finish in just 3 days, and anyone can do it, right? See, if you talk about Nessus subscription for a year, it is 3,000. Hardly it's around $3,000 per year. Okay, but why not an organization can do this, and why they are asking you that? Okay, for example, if I ask you if any organization who's into e-commerce, they don't have idea about cybersecurity threats and all, so they will just pay the $3,000 and they'll just watching a YouTube video will guide you how to handle an SS2, right? And what is your job here as a penetration tester? That's what insight is, that you should know that whether it is really a vulnerability or not. Very simple example I'm going to show you. This site is secured with HTTPS, right? We can see that. And this site is not. Got it? It's not secure. So if I ask you a question, people will tell the answer that this site is not secure, this site is secure. Okay, but it depends on the business they deal with. Means this site is dealing with the banking. This site is dealing with credentials. So it is necessary they should have the HTTPS secure socket layer, but it's not mandatory. They don't need it. It is just a dummy site. It's just an informative site. It's just a vulnerable site. They made it perfectly. Sorry, they made it intentionally. So it's not needed. So analyzing the business, according to business, your insight changes. Okay, so it should get developed as you work on multiple projects, as you work with multiple vendors, you'll get an idea that what I'm dealing really. Okay, so is it really vulnerable or not? Okay, then we have the reporting. People lack this thing very much. Okay, why? They get the Nessus report, they submit it, or they follow another format, they submit it. Okay, they totally forget that reporting depends on the standards you use, okay, and the methodologies that you follow. Got it? And it purely depends on the target audience. Okay, most of the executive management, they don't understand the cybersecurity part. If you give them all the full complete information about the vulnerability, they'll get bored of it. You need to give a summary report, executive summary report. So we'll explain that all these things in detail when we go through the workshop. Okay, so these are all the common standards: LPT from the AC Council, OWASP, Open Web Application Security Projects, and OSSTM, and National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. Okay, these are all the common standards that we use. Like I said, it's necessary to learn any one standard at least. That will help you to get your penetration testing career very strong. That I will follow this. I'm damn sure about it. Okay, I'm asking you my general question. If anyone comes to me for the interview, I'll ask them, what are you good at? One simple question. Answer me well, I'll recruit you. That's it. Okay, every employer will be having this thing in mind. What are you good at according to your career? What are you looking for? So I'm good at it. I'm going to do it. Yes, give them the confidence. You have to be very confident for that, and they need to be very confident on you. Okay, then specialization. Yes, when we talk about the career, we need to talk about the specialization. Why? Here I mentioned, look at this. You may think like, this looks like some departments that I can work on, or this looks like something from, I've seen something from the internet. This is like lots of things that is blowing out of my mind. Yeah, of course, because when you can see these different devices in the infrastructure, so that's where you can make your specialization. If you ask me, I'm expert in perimeter devices. I'm expert in server security. I'm expert in endpoint security. Okay, so I can pinpoint like I'm best at this. If I ask you, what are you good at? Okay, so you have to develop your specialization. Make sure you do it very well. Okay, so choose anyone, develop your career in that. Got it? Yeah. Yes, you can tell me like, listen, I have 5 years of experience, 10 years of experience. I have everything. I have all the certifications. I have experience of 10 years. Why I'm not getting a job? Or why I'm not getting why I'm not making a particular career in it? Okay, so very basic thing is, it's basics. We miss lots of basics. Why? People might have changed their career. They switch their career. Okay, it is due to the basics. They missed some basics from the courses. Okay, and even if you talk about CES, it is zero in basics. I can say that it is zero in basics. Why? Because it is missing out lots of network necessary information. Okay, yeah, they've mentioned that if you're good at networking, if you're good at computers, then you can move for CES. But it's not happening with the marketing, with the internet world that we have. We just go for how I can make my career in cybersecurity. The first point that you will see it in Google, go for CEH. So people blindly go for CEH. They don't have idea. And if you ask the vendors, if you ask the training institutions, they'll tell you like, we will make you a hacker, sir. We'll give you everything that you want. You will be the perfect hacker in the world. Yes, it gives you the hacker knowledge, but it's not giving you the basic penetration testing knowledge. So the first thing is irrelevant experience. Okay, and I have bunch of certifications. I have more than 20 plus certifications. Why I'm not? Irrelevant certifications again. It's not going to give you the job. Okay, so what will give you the job or career? Relevant experience, okay, and relevant knowledge with specialization and a proper guidance. Okay, proper guidance is very mandatory. How? Did you ever ask anyone who's into cybersecurity, or did you ever consult an academic counselor for making a career in penetration testing? I'll give you an example now. OSCP, right? Definitely, people must have advised you to go for OSCP, right? So have you ever thought that why I should do it? Why I should do it? The main Even if you ask your friends also, they'll tell you it's a top level certification and it'll give you, thousands of dollars in your hand. That's what their answer is going to be, right? But what do you like it, and is it really going to suit OSCP? People, I've seen people who says, I want to be a perfect web application penetration tester. Okay, so I'm planning for OSCP. That's a very bad decision that you're going to make in your life. Why? OSCP is not a web application security, web application penetration testing career one. You have OSWE, same from offensive security. Go for that. If you want to make your career in cloud, go for Azure and AWS. There is no point in making OSCP. So then who can take OSCP? If you want to make your career in endpoint security and network security, you can consider OSCP as a beginner level certification. Still, if you are making your career in network security and endpoint security, OSCP is still a beginner level certification according to me. Okay. Then, so if you have proper guidance, if you have relevant experience and relevant skills, definitely it is very easy for you to get a career in it. So for now, you can ask me a question, what I have to do, just leave all this, what I need to do. Start, learn your basics, start from IPv4. What is networking? Topology. Okay, subnetting. Start from there. OSI model. Very basic. If you are making your career in web application security, learn what is PHP is, what is Java, what is ASP.NET. Okay, what is HTML? Then go for it. Then go for next. Yeah, it takes time. It's a time consuming one because you're gonna make your career in it. It is worth you spend enough time on it. Then learn standards and methodologies. Then learn how to report. Then you will reach the top. That's how you make your career in penetration testing. Okay. So what are programs? What we're gonna do? Simply we'll have essentials that you need to know, and we have the traditional training as well as real machines with firewalls in it. Okay, and you will be given with 2 levels of assignment. Then you need to do reporting. Then you'll get a chance to win prizes and vouchers for that. The outstanding students. Okay, only 4 levels, only 4 steps: essentials, training, assignment, and reporting. That's what our flow is going to be. Okay, so we'll discuss this thing in detail. Mr. Atif sir will be explaining all this about the upcoming workshop. You'll get to know about it. Okay, and future scope. What is the future scope? And if I make my career again, I'll just take the point that I said earlier. If you do penetration testing in 1990s, yeah, you will get lots of result. And what about the future scope? Is it going to vanish? Or people are moving towards cloud? And how I'm going to make my career now? So very good question. There is always a necessity for upgradation. You cannot stop it because the penetration testing is getting saturated. Okay, saturated in a sense, the traditional penetration testing. Why? People started moving towards cloud and IoT. So it's very necessary to upgrade yourself. Go for cloud, go for IoT, get specialized, like I said. Then demand and entity of automation. Yeah, we all know that the scripting or coding is not necessary or mandatory to start your career in cybersecurity, but it is necessary to grow your career in future. So learn at least one scripting language. Learn at least one particular scripting language. So if you ask me, I would suggest you to go for Python. The next one is Bash. Next one is Ruby. The 3 is going to make the future. Ruby is very important. Go for Ruby if you want to do. If you know already Python and Bash. Okay, and the technical evolution. It's why we need to upgrade is the technical evolution. IPv6, right? It is there, but not fully stretched out, not fully rolled out. Still, we are all using IPv4. IPv6 is very lower number in use. So definitely it's going to get evolved soon. So we need to be ready for the IPv6. Web technologies, we have seen PHP, we have seen Java, we have seen HTML, ASP.NET Max, and but we have Node.js, Angular, different languages that are upcoming. right? 5G. Still, we are, working on 3G and 4G. 5G has been launched. So technical evolution is happening. So future scope is there. And another point to add with the future scope, how it is going to work. Like, yes, sir, you are saying that AI or scripting is going to take in the what as a penetration test I'm going to do. There is a thing that only 45% efficiency will be gained with the automation, and you need the human intervention. So of course there is going to be a huge need for the penetration testers. Okay, there is no doubt on that. Well, so that's what the path to the penetration testing is, and we can have the Q&A session. And if you have any questions about the penetration testing, you can ask me how we can make your career in it. So go for it. We'll answer it. I hope like I gave you enough insight or like what you're going to do with your penetration testing career. And if I miss something, you're free to ask the questions. We'll answer the question very well.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me take over. Thank you so much for the informative session. So to summarize and take questions, if you plan to work in this career, training is not enough. Training will give you the essential knowledge, but you need to have a clear path. You need to have a clear milestones. It's not a random process. It's a process that needs to be planned well. Now, is there a demand in the market? Yes, it's demand. And the most important part, because of the compliance. If any organization following any compliance, HIPAA, ECC, ISR, any compliance will request the organization to perform penetration testing every year and fix all the findings. So yes, there is a demand, except having the certification without having the knowledge, it's like having a driver license without knowing how to drive. So you will end up with nothing. So this is what you need to work on it, work on your real skills. You learn on how you should learn the real penetration testing as a technical skills and as a project skills, how it's done realistically. This need to be your focus. So according to that, we are qualifying people to get the real life experience. How can you get real life experience? By having someone who already work in the field, take you step by step, give you real assignment, evaluate if you are doing it right, prepare real targets for you, real protected target, identify your specialization. So instead of watching a online course where you don't have any kind of interaction, no, you will have someone meeting you every 15 days, telling you about the different phases of the penetration testing, giving you a real assignment related to a well-prepared target, and evaluate your work. By going through this path, most probably you will get much more results than by taking an online courses and end up knowing how to use Nmap and a couple of tools. So this is the purpose of our workshop. It's to go a top-down approach. I mean, learn while you are working. This is exactly what we are doing. This program will be a 24 weeks program. It's 6 months. And as I just mentioned, it's going to be a online session every 2 weeks where we will explain a specific phase of the penetration testing, explained how we are doing it, explained how it should be done according to the standard, sharing the proper reporting process, and then end up with the assignment. And the next session, the previous assignment will be evaluated, all the comment will be sent to you, and then you need to work on it. I mean, assignment will be approved or rejected. It's not a homework. It's a real business assignment. And within the 6 months, you will be ready to start applying because you worked in a real project. You can reply to any technical questions regarding the challenge that any pen tester is facing when it comes to protection, what is more reliable, the best firewall, what is the problem with this kind of antivirus, and so on. So this will be our program. And as I mentioned, it's a 6 months program. And it's going to start the 20th of this month, 20th of November. So you can go to the website to check the program information and know exactly how it will be done and the different phases of the program. And for the payment, you have two different ways for payment. You have monthly payment, which can be $75 per month for 6 months, or you have one payment, which is $350, where you can save $100 if you pay the cash. The good point here is that you have 30 days. If you are not satisfied with the program, if this is not what you were looking for, you can request for a full refund, no question asked. So you don't have any risk in the program. If this is something that you have in mind, it's fine. And think about it. If you have two different options, you have the option to take the CH certificate, which costs around $700, right? Getting to learn from few videos and sit for the exam and get certificate. Or you have another option to get a mentor taking you step by step, teaching you the process, showing you how it's done, the real channels, the real challenge, the real protected system, and end up with the real knowledge and cost you half of what the certificate will cost you. You need to have both of them, by the way. But I'm talking about the priority. What do you need to learn more? Is this certificate or the real knowledge? But if you ask me my opinion or Sam's opinion, you have to have both of them. You need to have a certificate, it's more as an evidence, and you need to have the real skills. Both of them will help you to get hired or to be able to find a job as a penetration tester and to build a career in this field. So this is everything related to our workshop today. We have around 10 minutes. If any of you guys have any question, please feel free to raise it. The video recorded will be sent for all of you through your email. Please go ahead if you have any question, any doubts. Myself and Sam will be more than happy to answer them. It's fine. I enabled the mic so it will be more casual. You don't have to write in the chat. That open the mic and raise your question. We will be more than happy to reply back.
Mr. Atef?
Yes, please.
This is Srini. Actually, I am so far all my experiences was in mainframe. I am not at all involved in web technologies and in security, but I am setting my foot in information security and compliance.
Okay.
And just setting my foot, but does this training help me in any way, or I will be in a rabbit hole?
This is more as a technical training.
I see. Okay.
It's different than the compliance and regulation and standard training. Mm-hmm. So people who want to join the penetration testing field are mainly into the technical part. It doesn't have that technical prerequisite. I mean, basic computer knowledge will be fine, because during the program, it will explain the network infrastructure, the topology, the web application structure. It will go through all the points, but it depends again about what is your goal. If you are into a specific objective, which is, for instance, compliance and regulation, I don't think this training will be useful for you. If you are into the, because there is a lot of people, a lot of my students who enrolled in ethical hacking training and took the certificate, was facing a problem finding jobs. They got the certificate, they got the knowledge, but when they go for an interview, they didn't have real experience. They don't know about standards. They don't know about what is the most common finding in a vulnerability in a penetration testing project. So this is actually what we are trying to do. We are fulfilling the gaps between the training and the real business requirement.
Okay. Thanks for your explanation and being straightforward about this training. One question is, if I am interested, As I mentioned, I am not into any technical terms too much, but if I want to join, would I be able to pick myself up with all these terminologies and go with the training from the basic?
Yeah, it will start from the basics. This is what I can confirm. It will start from the basic. But what I suggest, you can have 30 days money back. So you don't have to worry about that. If you dealt with us before, you know that there isn't any risk there. So if you want to give it a chance, it's fine. You can attend one session, two sessions, and if this is not what you are looking for, you can request for a full refund. It's not a problem. This is in case you want to see if this is a suitable program for you or not. Because sometimes, you know, people think, gentlemen, if you can just mute your mic unless you have a question. I'll do it from my side. Okay, so sometimes, you know, it's hard to explain someone if this is what he's looking for or not, unless he attend and see what is the objectives of the program and of the training. So we have a very clear objective in this program. We are qualifying people to become a professional penetration tester using following a top-down approach. We get you to work in a real project. We have someone to evaluate, tell you how it's done, how the process is done, how the reporting is done, what needs to be written in the report, how can you, because usually when we are doing a penetration testing, we present to the customer our results, what was found, what is the weakness. So this is a skills by itself. You know, it's not just like you are handing a report and leave. No, you have to explain and start explaining what is the weakness, who will be the in charge team. So it's a long process. That's why it's costly. Penetration testing is not cheap. It's costly. So it's something that worth investing your effort if you plan to work on it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Abdul.
Most welcome. Any more questions? Okay, I really appreciate your time and thank you so much for attending the session. I wish you all the best. Thank you, Sam, for sharing this informative session. And as I just mentioned, the recorded will be sent for all of you. And feel free to drop me an email if you have any question or any doubt.
Sorry, sir. Hold on a second. I have something in the chat. I think Irtan is asking something. Can you please read out, sir?
There is a lot of questions. You have access to the chat, Sam, right?
Yes, I have. Can I read it out?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And I'm actually thinking about penetration testing to get in. May you please explain again how it will work? Every 2 weeks we will have meeting or have work about one real business project. So I think Yachan is having a little bit confusion about the class that we're going to conduct 2 weeks once and how it is going to be, the program is going to be, the workshop is going to be. Is it going to stay away? Are we going to work on real-time project or we'll have the essentials and the necessary things that he needs to know?
Got it. Okay, allow me to clarify that, Sam, how it can work. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have two different paths in this program. Okay, we have the online training. You're gonna have access to all the ethical hacking courses in our platform, all the well-known courses like CH, CHFI, all the official courses. But it's not because we have more than 100 cybersecurity courses and more than 35 ethical hacking training on our platform. But this will be used as a reference. So for instance, if Sam gonna explain in one of the session, the web application, some of the web application most common vulnerability, and he will demonstrate that physically and what tool we are using to do that and so on. And he will show how we are doing it realistically. And he will give you an assignment to be done. And you need to see more resources about that. You will have access to all the courses on the platform here. So you can go for a specific topic in a specific course and check this topic in depth if you want to, okay? But the course is not depend on the online training. The main core of the training is to have a real pen tester helping you. So how it's gonna work, you're gonna meet once every 2 weeks. So every Saturday, starting from 20th of November, we're gonna have a meeting, 4-hour meeting, with Sam or myself going through the first phase of the penetration tester, explaining what will be done, doing the demonstration, explaining the part, but live. So you will have a chance to ask questions. You will have a chance to raise any doubts you have. So it's not watching a video, you have someone to speak to. That's why we are taking a limited number of people to be able to manage. So every 2 weeks, we're going to have a 4-hour session going through one topic, explaining it as a concept and as a realistic part. And by the end of the session, you will have an assignment. This assignment will be a practical assignment. You will have a virtual machine where you need to do a penetration testing. It will be first, it will be a basic one, then it will be a well-protected one, and then you're going to have to submit this report to Sam within a deadline. So you have, for instance, 1 week to do this assignment and send it to him. This will be a real project. Okay. He will reply back. He will evaluate the assignment and he will reply back what is the weakness, what was not done right, and what is the proper part. I mean, what was done in a proper way and what need to be fine-tuned. So by 24 weeks, you will have around 24 assignments. And imagine that you are doing, 24 real penetration testing projects, starting from basics, intermediate, and advanced. This is how it's going to go. So it's considered normal training, except we are adding to it the realistic part and the reporting part and so on. And it will be a tough assignment, by the way. I know Sam will not accept all the assignment unless it's done according to a specific criteria, like business criteria, it will not be accepted. So keep in mind that this is an exhausting program. It's not something that you're going to spend 4 hours watching the video and that's it. You have to do the assignment. You have to send it. It may be accepted or it may be rejected, that you have to do it again. You will spend some effort, but trust me, you will end up with having real knowledge, how exactly we are doing it, how the proper report is done, how to prepare a penetration testing project that is acceptable from a business perspective, how to present it to technical department in any organization. This is how the program will work. I hope I answered your questions. Is this confusion clear for you guys? Could you please write in the chat? Okay, very good. Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you so much for taking from your time to attend the session. And regardless if you registered in the program or you didn't register, final point in this session is that security in general, right? It's a big trend now. I mean, you should consider, if you plan to switch your career to cybersecurity, work on it. It doesn't matter. This is the best investments that you should have, regardless which field. Cybersecurity is a very big field. We have the architecture, we have the specialist, we have the penetration testing. Definitely, you will find a place where you can utilize whatever background you came from to this area. But what I'm telling you, there is a very, very big gap in the market right now. The only problem found that people only depend on training to be able to find jobs. And this is not right. If you know the gaps, exactly what is the gap in the market. I'm talking now in general, penetration testing, information security implementation, security architecture, SOC analyst, regardless of the field. Training is important, but will never get you a job. You need to fulfill the gaps between the traditional training and the real life experience. If you are able to fix that, definitely, you will be able to find a decent job in this field. Certifications, yes, you will get an attendance certificate. You will get a letter of experience. Ahmed, I'm replying back to your answer. So we will write a letter of experience from the company after you finish the programs that you did the following penetration testing. You will get an attendance certificate, and you will be qualified to pass any of the most common penetration testing or ethical hacking training. So we will also help you to pass the CEH or OSCP or any professional certification from the first attempt. This is, I can promise you, we can help you there. But again, my advice to you, certification is the easiest part of this program. People taking certification even without knowledge, I saw that. They just read some few papers, sit for the exam, they pass. So certification is important, but don't keep that your main priority. Most welcome. Yes, you will be qualified because the qualification will come from what? I'm answering Ankit question. Yes, with this knowledge of the training, you will get qualified to become a professional penetration testing because the qualification usually is coming from the real experience. Okay. So if you go for an interview, what do you think he will ask you? Do you think he will ask you to define some terminology? He will ask you what denial of service mean or what is the circular injection? Do you think this is the kind of question inside the interview? He will ask you, did you conduct any penetration testing before? What is the most common technique used to bypass a firewall? What is the most common technique used to bypass a antivirus? So this is the kind of question. So if you practice that and you know how to reply back, this is how we are working. We are following this standard. When we face a problem in a PT project with a specific security layers, here is what we are doing, right? This is the experience. This is what they are looking for, right? So can you do that yourself? Yes, definitely you can. You can try to build a virtual machine, protect it and try. But how long is it going to take you to know how to bypass or how to follow a standard and how it should be done? You will end up with your objective, but think about if someone is taking you step by step, showing you how it's done, how you should think about it, because this is a very dynamic field. It's not few steps to be memorized. You need to keep changing your plan according to what you find. You know what I mean? So it's a very dynamic. So having someone who already work in this business, taking you step by step and explain to you how it should be done, and this is wrong approach, this is right approach, will definitely give you a result. But keep in mind, one more time, for all of you guys, whoever plan to enroll in the program, you will have to do effort from your side. It's not a checklist that you're going to follow. It's a technique that you need to learn. So unless you are willing to spend some time and some effort, it will not get you to anywhere. Okay, any more questions?
Mr. Ataf, would you please clarify again with the training in the sense, do we need to take online training by ourselves, and once in 2 weeks we need to meet you and Mr. Sam?
You don't need to take training yourself. We're going to start because there is 4 different layers of the program, as Sam was explaining. There is a foundation layer where you're going to need to learn, because technical foundation is huge, but he will focus on the areas that you need to be aware of to achieve or to reach this specific goal. Okay, and by the way, we have a specific scope, which is the web application and social engineering, because penetration testing is huge, as Sam was saying. So we are qualifying you for a specific type of penetration testing. And this is important in your field. You have to be specific. I cannot write in my CV that I know about penetration testing in web application, network, wireless, IoT. Is not working this way. So Sam will start with making sure that the foundation are the same. You came from a different background, is fine. You will have additional resources. You should not depend only on Sam meeting. Besides, maybe you are meeting every 2 weeks, but this communication is running, is going during those 2 weeks. You have any problem, you send to him by email or over Microsoft Teams. So there is a communication, but the formal official meeting will be once every 2 weeks. So first he will build the foundation. Then he's going to start talking about the penetration testing phase. Then he's going to start practicing the penetration testing and go through the realistic part of the project. This is the 4 different phases that Sam explained. It's going to be, as I mentioned, every 15 days, 4 weeks, and we may have to add a couple of lecture more, but the basics, the main will be every 15 days. You're going to have it's going to be on Saturday, always on Saturday, 4-hour session to explain the topic according to a specific plan.
Thank you, Mr. Nataf. And every 2 weeks, 4 hours for 2 days each, or 2 hours.
Yeah, so monthly 8 hours. Okay, this is the live meeting. You have assignment to be done. You will be sending to him. He will evaluate and send back. So it's not like you don't have any communication with Sam or with myself within those 2 weeks. Work is come. I mean, we have task to be done, assignment, document to be read. So we will be like communicating within those 2 weeks, but the meeting will be every Saturday for 4 hours.
Oh, got it. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashraf.
Okay, gentlemen, ladies, any questions? Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much and all the best. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much.
Sam. Bye.
Okay,
Okay,
take
bye.
care.